Hi, my name is Andrea Buckley, and I am a licensed mental health therapist in the state of Michigan. Welcome to Connection Diaries. I am so happy that you are here. Today is World Mental Health Day, and it's also my birthday, which I love that those 2 days are on today. It feels like the perfect alignment because I love all things mental health. But today, what we're going to do is dive in a little bit deeper into my personal healing journey, and I'm going to share with you all some key lessons that I've learned along the way as I grow in deeper relationship with myself and deeper in relationship with others. Here at Connection Diaries, what you can expect is vulnerability, intimacy, deep conversation, and expert advice. And so this channel exists again to disrupt loneliness culture and to add a mental health professional voice to relationship culture conversation. And so you'll find that I love to talk about all things as it relates to relationship with self and relationship with others, whether that be platonically, romantically, or family relationships. And so, with this being World Mental Health Day, I would love to share a couple of tips with you all. And I hope that we can have a conversation today where I'm not just talking at you, but I'm talking with you, that we are in community with each other, and that as I share my story or parts of my story, as I share lessons that I've learned, that you can begin to reflect on your individual story and think about how you can apply some of these lessons to your life. And so, as I share each lesson, I'm also going to share a couple of journaling prompts to allow you to go a little bit deeper. Journaling is one of my favorite self intimacy practices. A lot of times, what happens is we go throughout life doing everything that we need to do to survive, and we forget to check in with ourselves in a very intimate way. We know how to make sure we survive and we stay alive, which is great, but we don't necessarily always know how to thrive and how to be in deep connection with ourselves, how to be vulnerable with ourselves, how to practice intimacy with ourselves, which really to me is the definition of love. Like, love to me says, I see you, I am witnessing you in the fullness of who you are, your authentic self. You don't have to pretend here. This is a safe space for the full range of who you are now and as you evolve. So that's a bonus lesson right there, the definition of love. But let's jump into it with lesson number one. So this is going to be a series. So this is just episode number one. So please stay tuned for the other episodes that will come up. But today we're going to just talk about a couple of lessons. And before we jump in there, I want to talk about how we got to today. And so this is a brand new YouTube channel for me, Connection Diaries. And I'm really, really excited to get on here and to share my story, to be able to interview people who have been a part of my story, who I love, to demonstrate vulnerability out loud, to open myself up to more love. So there's going to be people that I meet as a result of my involvement with this channel. And to again, be able to share advice that is rooted in connection, that's rooted in vulnerability, and not advice that is rooted in a lot of unhealthy relationship patterns that you see promoted in our culture today. And so, as I was getting ready for this video, it was stressful, okay? I was really excited. I'm like, I want to do this. I'm excited. This is something that it's a passion project for me. But as I was getting ready to record this video, I literally recorded a video and I realized there was no sound the whole video. This video was probably like 17 minutes long. And I was so disappointed. And I was so frustrated. And I just felt like, okay, I'm failing and maybe this isn't for me. Just all these thoughts running through my mind. And I want to share that part of my journey with you all because I think a lot of times people don't give you insight into the behind the scenes. They don't show you their humanity. They just show you a finished product. And what you'll find on this channel is it's going to be unfiltered. There's not going to be editing. There's not going to be a lot of like, you know, buzzwords or just things that kind of distract us. It's going to be a space for where we can connect. And if I want to connect with you, I gotta be honest and be real and say that this video almost did not happen. But I'm happy that it did. I'm happy that today I get to celebrate World Mental Health Day, that I also get to celebrate my birthday, that I get to celebrate being alive for one more year. And that's not something that I always saw as a celebration. So it's a blessing to want to be alive. And again, if that's not where you are, trust me, I've been there. And it can get better. I'll say that. Um, so, yeah, let's get into the lessons. The first lesson that I want to share with you all that has been crucial for my personal healing journey is you were never broken. A lot of times when we go throughout life, we feel like something is broken, something is off, something needs to be fixed. And we spend our lives hustling and grinding and trying to do all the things to fix that part of us that feels like it is broken. And a lot of us subscribe to narratives of brokenness, whether it be through the religions that we practice, whether it be just from, self-help culture, whether it be from just something that a seed that someone planted, someone who was crucial in our life, a caregiver, a teacher. We begin to walk throughout life thinking that we're broken. You see all these books behind me, right? Like there was a part of me that was searching for answers, trying to figure out how do I fix this part of me that feels like it's broken. And it wasn't until I learned, it was about probably a good chunk of therapists later, that I was never broken. And so part of my healing journey, a large part of my healing journey, has been returning to this narrative of wholeness and returning back to my authentic self, allowing myself to show up as who I am versus being the person that I thought I needed to be in order to be labeled worthy, in order to be labeled whole. And so that's my first tip for you. And I want you to think about in your journal the ways in which you feel broken, the areas of your life that you have been trying to fix that have not been fixed, and how you can look at those areas through a different lens. And so when I say to you, you were never broken, I want you to think about what comes up for you. Does that resonate with you? Do you feel resistance to that idea? All of it is welcome here, and I would love to engage in a conversation with you surrounding that. So, that is the first tip. The second tip I want to discuss is you get to challenge systems, ideas, and narratives. A lot of times when we're kids, we just kind of are taught that the truth exists outside of ourselves. And we just know that that is the case. We may feel a little bit of resistance to it, but we're like, hey, this is what everybody else is doing, so I have to do it too. And a lot of us may or may not have kind of grown into practicing the skill of being a critical thinker. And so you may find in your adulthood that you're like, okay, there's a lot of things I was taught to believe that don't really resonate with me. I don't really subscribe to them, but I also haven't been taught to challenge those things or get curious about them. And so, one part of my healing journey that has been really crucial is to learn to challenge those systems, to challenge ideas, and to give myself permission to redefine narratives, to redefine my values, to redefine what truth looks like to me. And that started by listening to my own voice, listening to my intuition, getting still enough to silence all of the external noise and begin to sit with what feels uniquely true to me. There's so many people in the world. This world is so diverse. There's so many different perspectives. And to think that one of them is the correct one is probably not 100% true. And so the second lesson involves holding space for the gray, releasing black and white thinking, giving yourself space to be more of a critical thinker and to challenge those things that deep down, they don't really sit well with you. They don't really make sense. And to begin to see truth as something that can also be internal and not just external. So that is tip number two. And I want you to begin to think about the ways in which you have failed to trust yourself, the ways in which you've outsourced, different definitions of truth to other people, and the ways in which that maybe has not served you. And maybe there's some ways that it has. I'm not sure, but I want you to really dig a little bit deeper and get into that. So we got one last tip for this particular video. And as I think about the tips I want to share with you all, I'm just kind of sharing what feels like most pressing, but also I'm still learning. So there's going to be more and more tips that you see are shared on this channel as we be in community together. So if there's a tip that you have that you want to share, feel free to put it in the comment box. But know that there's going to be 3 more episodes where I'm continuing to share these tips. And so one tip that I would like to share as well is honor your emotions. I have a shirt on today. It says sensitive, which I'm learning to see as a strength. It is a strength. Like, it's a strength to care. It's a strength to be impacted by things. It's a strength to be able to, feel. Because a lot of times people are, I heard it said once, like emotionally constipated. And we don't want that. We want emotions to be able to run through our bodies freely so that we can be human and honor our humanity. And so you may have grown up in a home where your emotions were not respected, they were not honored, they were not held, they were not, met with gentleness. And so because of that, it's very challenging for you to do that in your adulthood. And that's something that I resonated with. I remember being a teenager and having like a bad attitude. And, I just didn't know how to regulate my emotions, but that doesn't mean that they were not valid. And so every emotion that comes up, meet it with grace. Don't try to force it away or push it away. Allow it to be your teacher. Don't assign judgment to it. It's okay if you're like, this is an uncomfortable emotion, but it doesn't have to be a negative or a bad emotion. So once you meet your emotions without judgment, you honor your emotions, you allow them to flow like you allow other bodily functions to flow. There's a certain emotional freedom that you find in that. And so that is tip number 3. And as you reflect on that, I want you to think about the emotions that you typically are resistant to and the emotions that you welcome with open arms and where you learn to do that. And if you can sit with that and reflect on that, you will find so much self awareness. You will understand, like, oh, that's why I react this way. That's why I push that away. That's why maybe my partner also pushed these feelings away, you know? So I want you to sit with that. I want you to think about that. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for celebrating World Mental Health Day and my birthday as well. And I want you to like, to comment, to subscribe, to share this video, and join me on this journey. It's going to get deeper. It's going to get more and more vulnerable. It's going to get more and more intimate, more and more juicy. This is a space where no masks are allowed. We're not pretending. We're just going to be real, authentic, and vulnerable because that is the foundation of authentic connection. And that is what we are desperately longing for in our culture. But unfortunately, we engage in so many habits that prevent us from that connection, the very connection that we are wired for. So, we're going to talk about what it looks like to welcome more connection into your life, more love into your life, more intimacy in your life on all levels, your relationship with yourself and your relationship with others. So always remember that you are loved, that you are enough, and stay inspired.